Have you ever stopped to think about what your inner world actually looks like? Is it a vast landscape, a busy city, or something totally different? Today, we're going to dive into this really fascinating spiritual text that gives us a set of powerful ancient metaphors. Think of them as literal blueprints for understanding your soul.
So let's really get into it. This text wants us to imagine we're taking an inventory of our inner selves. What have we stored away in there? What tools do we actually have at our disposal? And, maybe more importantly, what needs a good cleaning out? These are some pretty deep questions, and believe me, this ancient guide has some brilliant ways to help us find the answers. All right, first up is this incredible metaphor of the soul as a kind of property, one that has 3 different houses on it. Each house serves a totally unique purpose, and just like any house, right, it needs to be properly furnished and looked after if it's going to be useful at all. Okay, so let's break down this inner real estate. First, you've got the hospital. This is the place for healing, for purging all the stuff that's holding you back. Then there's the workshop, where we use our senses to, get our hands dirty and prepare for doing good things. And finally, the confessional, which is for achieving, true confession. But what's really wild are the instruments in each one. Like sweet liquids and bitter mustard in the hospital? We've got to talk about that. This idea of bitter mustard is just so powerful. We usually think of difficult thoughts as something we need to get rid of, to push away. But this text, it flips that completely on its head. It suggests that these unpleasant thoughts are actually essential. They're like medicine. It's like a bitter tonic that cleanses the soul and, importantly, keeps us humble. It's a reminder that, hey, we're not perfect. And this quote just drives that point right home. Our struggles, our mistakes, they're not a sign that we're failing. They're a fundamental part of what makes us human. These imperfections are exactly what keep us grounded and stop us from getting that kind of pride where we think we did everything all by ourselves. So, after you've done all this work inside your 3 houses, how do you protect it? Well, the text gives us this absolutely beautiful imagery. The door to your soul needs 2 hinges. One is hope, so you don't fall into despair, and the other is love, which fuels your desire to do good. And the lock? That's charity and humility, the one thing that keeps your ego from just kicking the door down and wrecking all your hard work. Now let's move on to our next blueprint. We're shifting from the static image of a house to something much more dynamic and alive, a garden. This metaphor is all about the active, hands-on work it takes to make your soul truly fruitful. So here's the method, laid out in 3 simple steps. First, you plow the ground. This means using your senses to really become aware and prepare your soul for planting. Second, you cultivate that ground with good deeds, not for show, but to genuinely help other people. And here's the key. It's only after you've put in the labor that the rain of grace comes to make things grow. See, it's a partnership between your effort and something bigger than you. And this is the final, absolutely essential piece of the whole farming metaphor. After all the plowing and all the cultivating, there's a moment where you just have to let go. You have to surrender. It's this beautiful acknowledgement that you've done your part, but the growth itself, the final outcome, that's not in your hands. You have to trust the great farmer. Our third blueprint for the soul is probably the most vivid one. It's a story, really. The story of a young bird learning to fly. And this allegory is all about the soul's vulnerable journey as it leaves the safety of the nest and heads towards spiritual independence. So, how does this journey even begin? Well, just like a mother bird trying to get its chick to leave the nest, the text says the soul gets a little encouragement. It gets coaxed forward with food, with a guiding voice, and by example, by seeing what it actually looks like to soar. But leaving the nest is really just the beginning, isn't it? The flight itself, that leap into the unknown, that's where the real challenges are. The fledgling is weak, it's inexperienced, and the world is suddenly full of dangers it's never had to face before. And the text gets very specific about what these dangers are. It warns this young soul, this fledgling, to watch out for 3 big threats: wild animals lurking down on the ground, birds of prey circling up in the sky, and this really sneaky trap, bait that's been covered in sticky pitch. So what does all this symbolism actually mean for us? Well, the wild animals on the ground, those are earthly pleasures and appetites that can drag you down. The birds of prey in the sky, that's pride, ambition, the desire to be better than everyone else. And that sticky bait, that's the trap of worldly ambition and fake praise from others, the kind of thing that gets you stuck in what the text calls empty mirth. This warning from the text is just so direct and so powerful. It's a call to stay awake, to be vigilant on this spiritual flight. Because the dangers aren't just out there, they're the internal temptations that can knock a young soul right out of the sky.
So, you've built the house, you've cultivated the garden, you've survived the dangerous flight. What now? Where does that leave the soul? Well, our final set of metaphors describes the ultimate goal, the state of being that all this hard work is supposed to lead to.
The text gives us these three really beautiful aspirational images for a soul that's finally reached a state of maturity. It becomes a lamp on a lampstand, a precious sapphire in a ring, or a bride fit for a divine union. Every single one of them speaks to value, purpose, and, well, light.
Let's just focus on that first one for a second, because it is so important. The whole point of becoming this perfected soul isn't just about your own personal salvation. It's about becoming a beacon for others. Think about it. You don't light a lamp just to hide it under a bowl. You put it on a stand so it can give light to everyone in the house. The ultimate goal of all this inner work is actually outward service.
So when we put all the pieces together, you can see this clear and really profound story unfolding. The journey starts with the internal work of furnishing an empty house. Then it moves to the active work of cultivating a garden. It requires you to survive the dangers of a fledgling's first flight, and it all culminates in becoming a source of light for other people. And so, that leaves us with these incredible, ancient blueprints. The house, the garden, the fledgling. Each one represents a different phase of our inner lives. So the question I want to leave you with is, which one speaks to you right now? Are you furnishing your house, cultivating your garden, or are you navigating your first big flight?